P.M. here in the southeast of Victoria, a day that could have a few twists and turns in the finals race. Lockie Flanagan, joined by Mark Ivkovic to go through the game. Ivka, it's an interesting one because it's not quite now or never time for Melbourne City, but it is getting to that sort of stage.
Yeah, you'd say a loss today and it'd be very, very difficult for them to make the top six. Obviously a big week for them, a game midweek as well against Preston, so their fate will be sealed with these two massive games coming up. But welcome back to Victoria, Lockie Flanagan.
Very, very good to be back. And nothing says I love NPL Victoria football like driving an hour to call a game in Casey. Very great to be here. And we are underway at Casey Field. Melbourne City attacking the right-hand side of screen in the first half, and they do welcome back quite a number of first-team faces to the 11 today. A very undermanned side that took the field a fortnight ago. Of course, we had the break for the Doherty Cup against Hume City and ultimately defeated in what was a resolute 1-0 loss to Hume on the road. It does see the likes of Akeem Gerald come into the side. Julian Recchia is also back, as is Dom Aravanis, the latter of those two both having been part of the trip that went to Western Australia to take on Palermo with the senior side. South Melbourne on the attack here through David Yu, who's got that in the locker, does the New Zealander, but it's an early corkscrewing chance wide for the visitors.
Very aggressive attacking lineup by South Melbourne this afternoon. Jawach and Swipple up top as the front two, then Yoshida, Mezzaruni and Yu as well. Obviously want to get on the front foot against Melbourne City.
I dare say, Ika, this would be the first time we've seen the pair of them in tandem. So he's not been afraid this season, has Sinisa Hardzic, to move the magnets around and experiment. I mean, we've seen the growing success as well of a back three of late as well.
Yeah, I would say that the way they've lined up is to put the pressure on Melbourne City. You can see they're pressing very high up aggressively.
Jawach. Nice touch to get away from the advancing Fraser Brown. Painter Andrews just held up a little in the turf. Giannakopoulos. Back to Painter Andrews. Jawach shifting out to a wide position and crossing the ball in, but there was no one really home. And one of the things, I guess, Ivka, that this formation change or this, different partnership in attack will do for South Melbourne is that it will allow moments like that for Buljuwach to actually drift wide and play down the flanks. It's easy to forget because he's been such a good goal scorer the last two seasons that when he came here with Altona, he was a goal-scoring winger to start out.
Yeah, and that's where he's at his best, when he's running in behind onto a ball. It's not really a hold-up number 9. He's struggled a little bit at times to adapt to the way South Melbourne's been playing in his limited appearances so far. Obviously still unfit as well, but he's much better when he's got room to run into.
And the big news of this South Melbourne lineup, which is not as changed as you might expect given the amount of football they've been through. It's been 6 days since that frantic Fremantle City round of 16 tie. 3-3 South winning on penalties, but the hero of that penalty shootout is on the bench, and Harvey Lopez is back for the first time since Dandenong Thunder, back from that shoulder injury.
Yeah, probably a little bit ahead of schedule, I would say, a week or two ahead of schedule, but they've got some big games coming up, South Melbourne, and as good as Charleston's been, Lopez is obviously, you can't deny that he's the number one goalkeeper here at South Melbourne.
I'm very happy to have him back. Of course, he's the hero of that penalty shootout. That doesn't tell the full story. He was also somewhat culpable for the fact it was a penalty shootout in the first place, but beyond that game, attended the goal admirably, kept the gloves warm for the return of Harvey Lopez. A big boost at the end of the season as Melbourne City tried to play through the press of South, and the pressure does pay for the visitors.
I'd say some of those errors that Charleston made in that Fremantle game would be the reason they probably rushed Lopez back in.
It's a tactic that has worked with mixed fortunes for other clubs in Victoria in recent times. Of course, Aaron Souza having the same experience of being rushed back a little early last week in the Doherty Cup final.
So that didn't pan out too well for him.
And a tough week indeed for Heidelberg United. Short and hot and unorthodox pass from Giannakopoulos to Pasquale, but up to that point South Melbourne had done well to make it look good. So flick back to Lockie Charles, who's going to be under the cosh here. That handles the swiftness of Swivel. And again, South force a high turnover. Look to turn the screw. Pasquale. Ramazani. Back inside for Pasquale. Good movement just to open up a pocket for him. Uchida. Back onto the right, Yuki Uchida, the lifter. David Yu tries to turn it towards goal and does, but in the end, Lockie Charles is able to scramble down to the right to collect.
You're going to have to adjust pretty quickly here, Melbourne City, to the way South Melbourne's approach this game, because they are under the pump at the moment. You can hear the shouts to press. It's a massive test for this young Melbourne City team today, because South Melbourne is probably the best pressing team in the competition, and they've gone ultra aggressive at doing it this afternoon.
You have to say, Ivka, although one of the things that Melbourne City always deal with, or any A-League Academy side, they will know that fluctuations in terms of player availability will come over the course of the season, but while they're in finals contention, if they lose today, it would be 3 straight losses against teams inside the top 6. And here's an opportunity for David Yu. Will he get his goal this time? It's really nicely saved by Charles. He tips it away at the cost of a corner.
He's done well there, Lockie Charles. Just stood his ground. Easy to try and guess before he takes the shot. David Yu's having a field day out there at the moment, isn't he?
He has been everywhere so far. Of course, one of the 3 scorers in that round of 16 tie with Fremantle City, scoring the second of 3. Aaron Cox, the clubhouse leader for the best of the 3. He's on the bench today. Hughes corner, a flat one, and a bit of a corkscrewing attempt to clear. That time by Tobias Servin.
Make sure one's across the front, man. All swift.
Distinct lack of. You would think a team with such a deep academy stock, Ivka, might have some, ball boys from the under 12s available today, but no dice. And the ball's back now, courtesy of a handy spectator. David Yu's second corner is flicked across the face of the goal. And that's ridden the line nicely, but the referee is just going to bring play to a halt. Tobias Servin, who cleared that earlier corner, has gone down in the aftermath of the second.
Much needed break and play for Melbourne City. At least they can reset a little bit. Need to show a little bit more composure on the ball. Back the processes and systems that they know so well. We have seen them come under pressure at times throughout the season, and they just play through the press usually so comfortably, but this is a different beast that they're up against this afternoon.
Good to see we're going to be able to continue here with no major troubles, and Tobias Servin back in free movement. And he, along with King Gerald, who's up top as well, have not had a lot of work to do so far in attack. Richard's throw plucked down nicely by David Yu. Again, South Melbourne win it back swiftly. Messaruni trying to feed the raging bull. Buljuach, who goes to ground, and it's a hearty wave of the arms from the ref.
So they're the areas that you don't really want to play through the press. Just clear your lines when you're stuck in that corner.
Hakeem Gerald to wiggle away from the clutches of Seb Pasquale. His teammate not quite having the same joy in Fraser Brown. Pasquale continuing to be a player who just does all of his work this season so well. Juach. Setting a bit of a task for David Yu, who is denied by the full stretch defending Nick Fidakis. He's got more defending to do. Uchida, lovely feint. Really great stuff from the Japanese attacker. Oh, and he's nearly scored an absolute beauty.
Nice miss-hit cross there from Yoshida. Really good work down that left-hand side, though. I think he did miss-hit, though. I don't think it was intentional. That's why Lockie Charles probably didn't get the right read on it.
Never change, Marcus. Never change.
Go sweeps! Yes, sweep! Yes!
It's just slipped past Charles's grasp initially, and he is under enough heat to clear the ball. Giannakopoulos has done really nicely there. So too has David Yu to touch his way around a marker. That's where it all comes to an end. Angus McIntosh. Ramazani reading that all the way. You have to get up a little earlier than that to get the beating of Hassan Ramazani, or at least that's the evidence so far since he's signed for South Melbourne IFCA. Prior to that Fremantle City game, which I believe is his 7th for the club, they barely conceded a goal since he's been in the team.
Yeah, probably out of all the signings they've made, for me, he's been the most impressive. He's an absolute machine of a defender, can play as a left back, can play in a back throw, can play as a centre back. He's been really impressive.
Been able to hear the fervent roar of yes! Sinisa Hadzic praising the South press, and he has had a lot of reason to so far. Johannes trying to play out of it. Johannes up the line for the fast feet of Akeem Gerald, who swings in across with menace. Oh, it's neither servant nor Johannes to get a toe to it. Well, it's not a opportunity on goal, and not even a touch on the end of the cross gift here. It's still a good moment for Melbourne City, just to give South a bit of a reminder that, hey, when there is space, there is something we can do with all of this.
Yeah, they need to be a little bit cleaner in those moments, because those opportunities aren't going to come around too often. Just needed to get his head up, Gerald, and see where his teammates were.
Hey, set it up, Toby!
We haven't seen a lot of Akeem Gerald for Melbourne City's senior side in 2026, just his 10th appearance of the NPL Victoria season today. He scored just the one goal, despite being a record-breaking figure for Melbourne City's senior side, the youngest player in history last year in the Australia Cup, and in a round of 32 victory against Western Bears as well. Yankovic has just lost out to Servan. That time South able to get City to go long, and Vlanis could do fairly limited amount with the pass that came his way.
I'd like Melbourne City to come across this side more often to Vlanis, because obviously South set up with the back three. You've got Yuki Yoshida playing on that left-hand side, obviously not known for his defensive capabilities. On the other side, Painter Andrews, he can get back quite easily, but Yoshida positionally might struggle a little bit, and you can pretty much isolate Ramazani out on that left-hand side.
McIntosh. So you've got numbers here. This could be a move of promise. Johannes finds a teammate at the top of the penalty area as there's shot at the end of all of this. South Melbourne make the block. Johannes trying to find Servan, and South Melbourne will eventually clear. But this is a nice little spell for Melbourne City.
Well, this will give them confidence now that if they do win the ball in their attacking half, just send numbers forward, because South Melbourne is a little bit exposed in that area. They've taken, obviously, a bit of a risk pressing very high and going man on man. If they lose the ball in their own half, they are outnumbered. It was a big moment there for Rekia, probably showing his inexperience there. Didn't realise that Yankovic had lost his footing.
Here comes South Melbourne in the opposite direction. Swibble isn't quite reading the run or lack of it from David Yu, who just dropped anchor to try and prevent himself from being the recipient of a pass in an offside position. Servant. Nice lay down. That's a task set for Aravanis. Johannes. It's just slipped under the studs, but the chance still alive for City. Akeem Gerald. To find a little pocket. It's an opening in this fence. McIntosh. Self-defense holds firm. Probably don't get as much credit given how frequently they promote their front foot way of playing football and trying to score freely when they can. Maybe don't get as much credit and acknowledgement, Ivka, for the defensive side of things. They are the joint top clean sheet holders this season with 9 in NPL Victoria.
Yeah, and their goal difference just obviously took a battering once they went on their overseas finals campaign in New Zealand, where they lost consecutive games 4-0 and 4-0. Prior to that, they had a very, very good defensive record.
Connect to Keem.
Great header from Jake Pavlovsky.
Now Toby to be available. Straight open like that, it's going to late.
Well, here's some big news around the grounds, Mark Ivkovic. 15 minutes played at Olympic Village, and Heidelberg are in the lead against Hume. Could it finally be the day? Johannes' ball in is a really uncomfortable one for David Yu. Not sure that was the contact he intended.
Well, that makes things all the more important for both teams. Yeah, obviously Melbourne City to need to win to stay in touch with Heidelberg, but South Melbourne, a win today, the second spot is still not off the table.
That's a good point. And for their part of the equation, which we've maybe overlooked prior to kickoff, but South Melbourne, depending on results elsewhere and with a win, could practically wrap up a top 6 spot today if they do come home from Casey with 3 points. First, though, the matter of City's first corner. Ramazani well away. McIntosh will watch that one sail all the way through to the arms of Harvey Lopez, who, of course, Ivka, in addition to his shot-stopping abilities, just offers you a little bit more of an active and clear communication presence in terms of organising that defence as well. That felt like, particularly looking back at some of those Fremantle City goals, an area that was maybe missing for them.
Yeah, you could see with probably 2 of those goals, just a mix-up in communication between Yankovic and Charles. Probably make Yankovic feel a little bit more comfortable as well, having Lopez back there. Obviously played together for so long now.
Ramazani, a marauding run. The central defender, what a run it was. David Yu now fires away and puts it straight down the throat of Lockie Charles. A disappointing end to a dazzling run from Hassan Ramazani.
That's far too easy for Ramazani. McIntosh and Rekia need to be, one of them at least needs to go to the ball carrier. Both just stood there and let him fly past them with ease.
Uchida, the last man back for South, as he lets that roll through to Harvey Lopez, the 3-time NPL Victoria goalkeeper of the year.
Go on, Toby!
Been an interesting first half so far at Casey Field. South Melbourne came absolutely flying out of the blocks. The City have had a few good moments in recent minutes. Swivel just unable to connect his header with either of the teammates nearby.
Yeah, just didn't catch the eye of Buljawacha's forward run there.
Go on then, coach! Go on then, coach! Right shoulder, Timmy, right shoulder!
Pasquale is coming to try and up the ante for South. David Yu, another who has seen no shortage of the ball so far in the opening 20 minutes. Picked out in the pocket nicely was Pasquale, who is turning on the Jets. Tees up, Messaruni. Melbourne City get men in the way, and a corner will be coming.
Just took that extra touch. Mezzaruni allowed Brown to close down the shot.
Go out with David. Keep Messer in the middle.
Very good work by Pasquale, just weaving his way through there.
Stay in.
It's a great quality that he seems to have, Seb Pasquale, a desire to go and get the football and do something. You know, you see often when he'll drop into that back forward or almost play a quarterback style operation to ping passes from deep or take it and run. Use corner, another flat one to the front post, and not for the first time today. Tobias Servan is the man who clears.
So that was a terrible delivery there from David Yu.
Yeah, I have to say, unless the flat near post is the intention, they've been a bit helter-skelter so far. That is not much better from Yuki Uchida, so another win for the short corner hater, Mark Ivkovic right there.
He'll always win.
Swivel arguably got in the way of some of his teammates there. That's well won back by Messaruni. About as close as you could come to scoring without scoring in that Fremantle City tie, denied by some great goalkeeping. Couldn't angle the ball back to Buljawacha's. Again, South's staunch pressure nearly paid off. Johannes. He has grown into the game. The cross too easy. Yankovic and Rekia. Still Rekia. Flicked away by Yankovic. Akeem Gerald. McIntosh. Poor pass. Picked off easily by Yuki Uchida, who looks over the shoulder. Says to himself, how much room have I got to roam? Not as much as he would have liked. And so back he heads to Hassan Ramazani.
Again, they look dangerous, don't they, Melbourne City, when they eventually get the ball into the forward area. Just need a little bit more composure in these crucial moments.
Pasquale. Uchida being urged on by the bench, and he obliges. The cross, though, well short of the Japanese live wire's brilliant best. South Melbourne's 47th game of the season today, which I was getting ready to declare an equal record for Men's National League, at the very least NPL teams after Heidelberg last season, but I've been reliably informed by the Heidelberg media legend Greg Blake that 47, despite what many thought and many have said publicly, is actually not the record. Heidelberg United played 55 in 1990, so South has still got a few games to go until they break that record. As Messaruni lets rip and nearly scores a cracking goal in his own right.
Can't switch off for a second, Melbourne City. They've done well to weather the storm that was coming in that opening 10 minutes. Just can't afford to switch off and allow space for shots like that.
Charles manages to split the gap between the two strikers, but can only find Marko Yankovic, the central defender. Buljawac does the defending for City on that occasion. He was not happy about it either. Maravanis trying to make something happen. In fact, it was Vlanis who was trying to wriggle away. I'm going to leave you a bit of a maths equation, which I'm sure is exactly what you want right now. So 47 games for South Melbourne this season. if they play every available remaining game to them this year, so Grand Final, Australia Cup Final, Australian Championship Final, how many games will they play on the road to that record? I'll leave it with you for the moment as Johannes can't find the feet of Tobias Servan. Towering presence up top for this youthful City side. Ramazani looking for Swibble in behind and finding, but he cannot reward the run over the shoulder of Buljuach.
If they were to make the NPL Grand Final and the Australian Cup Final, that will take them equal on 55, and then there's still the championship to play.
David Yu, it's a tantalising cutback, but Swibble gets the lines absolutely skew whiff, unfortunately for him. South's top scorer across all comps this season with 15. 66.
That's including the championship.
That is including the championship in a calendar year, 66 games. And interestingly, the minimum, if they go out and flame out of all of those competitions somehow, which you're not expecting them to do on their current form, the minimum they can play is 55. So they will at least equal that record.
They've done extremely well to manage the squad throughout the season. Did look a little bit shaky once they came back from the OFC final series. Just hit a little bit of a flat spot. But
maybe the shock sacking of Sinisa Hadžić was exactly the shake-up that they needed. So barely lost since, as Servan has just got a bit too involved in the back of Marko Jankovic for the liking of the referee.
I think people forget the form that they were in prior to that New Zealand hub that they went to. You know, they'd beaten Preston at BT Connor Reserve 3-0 convincingly, and were sitting top of the table, and obviously sacrificed 4 league games that saw them slip down the table and their goal difference taking a bit of a battering, but they're definitely back in that form that they were in prior to that hub. With new recruits in Jawach and Ramazani.
And this man, David Yu, disguised the shot. He teased us with something special. Painter Andrews, a second crack for the full-back. It's a decent cross. Swibble and Jawach just getting in each other's way. It'll drop, though, for David Yu, who was twisting and turning, but denied by some frantic effort from Rekia Mesaruni. South continuing to pepper the goal of Lockie Charles, but probably frustratingly so for their coach, Sinisa Hadžić. You've got too many of them straight at the keeper.
Yeah, he's finding some good spaces though, Mesaruni, on the edge of the area. Probably suits him playing a little bit deeper today. Just back on that Pasquale point you made earlier. Geez, he's so good at dictating the tempo of the game, isn't he? In that role that he plays. He's able to either play a first-time pass and get them up the field pretty quickly, or get his foot on the ball and drive forward.
Again, City, they got further, but not able to find a way through. Not able to see it on the stream. There are some very deep stud marks and scrapes along this turf, which had a veritable boatload of water before the game. Actually caught out the fourth official as well. What a line-splitting pass that is. Johannes, the youngster, could he open the scoring for City? Well, that is a reminder of what Harvey Lopez can do on his return to the starting fold.
Yep, and that's why you're rushing back into the lineup. That is superb. What a pass by Rekia, by the way. That is the perfect ball into the path of your winger, but Jez Lopez done incredibly well there to get off his line very, very quickly.
He made it look very easy as well. Like, that did not seem to him like a chance that really gave him a lot of bother, but it's as deep into South Melbourne's penalty area as City have got from open play.
That's the difference between a top top goalkeeper and just you stand the goalkeeper. Every keeper can save shots, but it's the ability to read the game and know when to go off your line and when to close down those one-on-ones.
Uchida. Will he find the opening for South? He's got plenty to aim at, and he finds it. Easy as you like for the Raging Bull, Buljuach, who has goals in back-to-back games for South Melbourne. And this pressure that has been building for 25 minutes at Casey Fields finally pays.
It's really good work again by Yoshida. Pretty poor defending there from Melbourne City to let it come across the face. Buljuach, the only one to react to that ball. It was the perfect pass from Yoshida. Not enough for Lockie Charles to come out. Just right behind that defensive line.
Keep going, keep going.
Is Buljuach's, I believe, first goal back in NPL Victoria since returning to South. 2 in the Cup, 1 in the league. South Melbourne in front, courtesy of their new main man. And, he did get a few, I think at least, Ivka, unfair accusations of being a player who does most of his work too close to goal. Not exactly beating the allegations with that one. Uchida, South Melbourne's man at the minute, can't find one of the others. And David Yu. But even when they are not connecting their passes inside the penalty area, they are doing enough, more often than not, to harangue Melbourne City into turning the ball straight back to them.
And the longer the game goes, the more difficult it's going to get for Melbourne City. It's a lot of work that they've got to do, tracking especially Yoshida and Yu out on this left-hand side.
Ramazani. Uchida again. He's giving his fullback a torrid old time. And Angus McIntosh as well. Pasquale has picked out a beauty of a pass, and Juach not quite expecting to receive, perhaps, from David Yu. Johannes has been very involved for Melbourne City, and he has showed something as well. Really nice break down the left, the cross straight into Buljuach, who I think was doubling back at a rate of knots to try and make sure that his errant touch did not end with an equaliser for Melbourne City.
Time's reset. Akeem, higher, Akeem.
It was a 2-1 win back in May for City against South Melbourne at Lakeside. And incredibly, none of the scorers that day are on the field for either side. In fact, just 5 players from Melbourne City's squad that day featuring this evening, and 2 of those were unused subs. So, very different side for City, and so far proving to be a very different result.
City have equalised at Olympic Village there, Lucky.
A couple of minutes for Heidelberg. Buljuach scores for South, and Team City find the leveller. With every passing day, I think Sinisa Hadzic already was pleased as punch, but only grows more satisfied with the fact that he won that 3-horse race for NPL Victoria's star striker. Swivel. The lifter, Juach! Oh, that's sensational! Brilliant ball. What a goal. South Melbourne 2 to the good, and both coming from Buljuach.
What a finish from the Raging Bull. Right on cue there, Lockie. Just found the space there to move away from his opponent. Good ball into the area, but what a finish.
Raging, rampant, whatever you call him, he is all of the positive adjectives at the moment.
We don't stop, man. Make sure intensity's there.
After a slow start, building back his fitness after a frustrating stint in Canada, I think someone, Ivka, has finally showed him the red rag, because he is running and he is showing the horns to NPL Victoria defences once again. And now Melbourne City find themselves in a real point of pain.
The way to get back into it. They need to start with limiting the crosses that South Melbourne are putting into the area. It's finding it far too easy on these flanks to get balls in. We've got 2 targets there this afternoon as well in Swibble and Jawach.
Oh, Charles is gone an absolute country mile out of his goal. That was like watching a game of FIFA for a second there. This is NPL Victoria, not pro clubs. They do instill that level of confidence in their goalkeepers here at City to pass the ball, play it out from the back.
It worked well in the Australia Cup, didn't it?
Different keeper, I should stress. Ironically enough, running out with the goalkeeper is among the furthest Melbourne City have gotten away from that South press in the last few minutes. They are wearing white, and they are white hot at the minute, South Melbourne.
Control.
This game plan has worked a treat for South Melbourne, though. Sinisha would be very happy with what he's seen. Trying to get an early lead as they have done. And now they can really control the flow of this game. Melbourne City going to have to open up, and then South Melbourne are just going to continue to find pockets of space.
Stay! Yuki just in between.
I guess one of the good things sometimes with playing 2 up top as well, if you've got 2 hungry strikers, and one of them has just watched the other score twice in half an hour, Geordie Swibble is going to be pretty keen to try and get himself in on the act. Sometimes that competitive tension can be a very beneficial thing. Competition for places, both starting and even on the subs bench at times for South, is a red hot one. We're still missing a few first team names like Jordan Lampard and Max Mikola.
Eliopoulos as well.
Jacob Eliopoulos too.
Here we go!
Jordan Lampard is the closest to returning of the trio. I think spoken recently to Sinisika Hadzic. Pushed out to Vlanis. City needs something. They've had flashes of brilliance. They need to conjure a meaningful one now. Vlanis, great turn, but too much shown to Buljuach, who's given it straight back. And David Yu. It's a pretty open and shut case where the ref is concerned awarding that free kick.
Well done, eh? Well done! Oh, hey! Yuki!
Be careful here, Melbourne City. Need to make sure it's the right delivery. They've committed a lot of numbers forward.
South can attack you at pace if you provide them the opportunity. Now Julian Recchia will take the free kick. He has already shown his vision, his capacity for picking up players in the box. Can he do it again with Melbourne City in need? Recchia. And it's all too easy for Javi Lopez. I think I put the muzzle in there.
I think so. Again, Lopez commanding his box this afternoon.
Ramazani will launch it long. Swibble. Fortunate victim of the deflection from the appearance of Dom Aravanis. Giannakopoulos. Pedro Andrews put under pressure by Jake Pavlovsky. Five minutes to go in the first half. Melbourne City short of scoring, would be very keen to, at the very least, keep this to a 2-goal margin by the time the break arrives.
So they can't afford to concede another before half-time. It's obviously stated the obvious, but at least they could get into the dressing rooms at half-time, only 2-0 down.
Pasquale, what vision. David Yu able to withstand the defensive force. Uchida, can the provider turn scorer or provider again? Messaruni with a bit of a miscue at the back stick.
Again, too easy for South Melbourne to get the ball into the area. Just attracting that pressure, allowing your shooter to run at you like that and then giving the space to cut across it and get a ball into the area. He's done that probably 7 or 8 times in this first half.
Yeah, 17-year-old Nikvidakis is not having the funnest of times, shall we say, up against Yuki Uchida.
Contact! Fair ball, white ball.
There's not a single player in City's 11 today over the age of 19. Juach. Swivel. Pasquale. Just always finds a way. Uchida still driving to the byline, lifts the cross in. It couldn't be, is it? Oh, it nearly was. A first half hat-trick for Bull Juach. And at the second time of asking, Lockie Charles was able to frantically pick the ball up, but, well, that would have been quite remarkable.
Yes! Yes!
Wasn't far away from getting that first half hat-trick. Again, Uchida with the cross into the box. It's like they're trying to avoid him coming onto his right foot. But he's been so dangerous getting onto his left and cut off that supply.
Well, especially because of how many numbers South Melbourne are committing into the box. I mean, I'm sure you went back and watched the replay, Ivka, of the first goal, which of course you can do at home. It was 4 shirts for Yuki Uchida to aim at. You thought for sure one of them would get picked out, and indeed Bull Juach was the one. Nearly a hat-trick in 10 minutes. From goal 1 to 3 there for Bull Juach. 4 minutes between first and second, and if you are going to choose to watch a few replays and scrub back on the YouTube stream, the second one is worth an additional viewing as well. The afternoon sun in the southeast casting pretty long shadows across the field, and Melbourne City have probably felt like they've been chasing them at points so far this afternoon. That's more like it from Vlanis. That just opens up the field a little bit for him to stream into, but well, he's held on to it. Good one from Vlanis. Messaruni trying and failing again to win it back. McIntosh. Vidakis. First time in a while we've had the chance to actually see City have an elongated spell on the ball.
Yeah, they're just a little bit lacking numbers in that movement, though.
Aravanis, as he streamed down the right flank, was a little isolated. Aravanis now. Plenty of discussions going on between head coach Stu McDonald and Socceroo assistant Jimmy Jego. Vlanes, he's had a couple of good moments now, and Servin, Ramazani's touch was all important because it meant that Servin was not going to be able to run back and reach that one in time. Talked a lot last year about the professionalism of Heidelberg in that fairy tale Australia Cup final and NPL Grand Final winning season. One of the qualities that always impressed me was how little fuss they seem to have when dealing with challenges, and watching South Melbourne today, they have that same quality. You know, when pressure comes in, they don't do anything, I guess, in a sort of hurried or harangued fashion. You just saw Hassan Ramazani run in and get a touch to that ball like it was no fuss at all, even if it was one of Melbourne City's best patches of passing play.
there.
The other comparison is
Let
how
Hassan have
organised Heidelberg were and how organised South Melbourne are
Good
this
job,
season. Every player knows their role on that pitch. They seem like a very united team as well.
It's been trending downwards, the long throw for South, but we are going to see the first of the day from Painter Andrews, and it will drop in the penalty area, but South Melbourne not getting a shot away. Pasquale. What can he create? Not sure I've seen him misplace a pass so far today, even if that one was a bit of a gimme. Yankovic just gave up on that one. I think he knew that he was going to be flagged for offside if he made the full effort.
2 minutes. Set up!
2 additional minutes on the way here at Casey Fields in the first half.
2 minutes for Melbourne City to hang on here. Don't concede and try and regroup and try something different in the second half. They haven't been terrible, Melbourne City. They've just come up against a very, very good South Melbourne team.
He won it back brilliantly, did Uchida. Swivel. Again, there's a couple of white shirts, but over all the heads. Messaruni. Still Messaruni. Painter Andrews, those two trying to link up, and Painter Andrews just put a bit too much power on the pass. It's a bit of a boa constrictor-like quality to South Melbourne at the moment.
Yeah, Sinisha just demanding that they don't lose their intensity. That's going to be the tricky part for South Melbourne. They've been in total control. Easy to switch off.
Messaruni. Oh. Charles going to come up with something pretty regulation in the end. I think, though, if Andrew Messaruni keeps trying from that sort of range, he's going to eventually find one. Well, that's a really pressure pass. Rekia did very well to get it away, but it's coming back in the opposite direction. It's cut back for Buljuach. His touch was heavy, and Messaruni gets a shot towards goal, but the ball had clearly come off the back of the ref.
So that's the inexperience there from Melbourne City. 1 minute before the halftime break, and you're trying to play out through the middle of the park under a heavy press. That's where you just need to manage the game a little bit better.
Well, Rekia's pass was good in the sense that it got the pressure away, but only for a moment, and it has been first half at Casey Fields of constant South pressure. They have been very slick and raced out to a 2-goal lead courtesy of a brilliant quick-fire brace from Buljuach. It is Melbourne City with the work to do on the other side of the break, but here at halftime from Casey Fields, the halftime score, Melbourne City 0, South Melbourne 2.
People slow, they're coming out slow. And the score is slow. The scoring is slow. Passing slow. Just have a look around. Ready?
Welcome back to Casey Fields for the second 45 of this big clash in the race for finals between South Melbourne and Melbourne City. It was City's game to go chase and potentially win if they want to really keep that finals door ajar, but it is looking a little precarious at the moment. South Melbourne have been slick, swashbuckling, and they have styled their way to a 2-0 lead here on the road in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. 2 goals and one brilliant second one for Buljuach have them sitting pretty with 45 minutes to play, and it is South Melbourne who will hope to see out that 2-goal buffer to take a 3 points that could potentially, by the end of the night, if Altona, or rather Caroline Springs George Cross, were to go down tonight, qualify them for the finals. So Melbourne City with plenty of work ahead of them, and they have made 2 substitutions as they look to go chasing. Kaisa Tilmis and Rino Kutleshi coming on as a double sub. South Melbourne bringing on Aaron Cox at the break, so Mark Ivkovic, a few fresh faces coming into this game as Melbourne City really need to shift what was mostly one-way traffic in the first half.
Yeah, I'd say South Melbourne's probably brought Cox on for more. He's probably got better defensive work rate than Yoshida. We're probably expecting Melbourne City to come at them a little bit in this second half.
Long throw for South. Lands at the feet of Julian Recchia. Certainly Painter Andrews. The field opens up for him. Tried to pick out Buljuach, who is, of course, hunting an NPL Victoria hat-trick today. 4 goals now in all competitions since signing for South Buljuach. It's not going... You never say never with a striker the quality of the Raging Bull. He's probably not going to replicate his 30 goals in a single season. I think it was actually 31 for Heidelberg last year, but he's going at a decent clip now. And South have still got plenty of football left this year. Swivel.
It's only going to get better and better as each week passes. Starting to form at the right time of the year.
And they will be very happy to have him fit and firing going into the Australian Championship. NPL Victoria finals, you would have to imagine now, if they can confirm them today, are all but a certainty. And of course, that Mammoth Cup quarter final coming up against the Preston Lions, the big show back on the national stage next week. Mark Ivkovic, I think, is already... I don't know what ticket platform Preston Lions use, if it's an Intix, a Tixel, a Ticketmaster, but Mark Ivkovic is already refreshing the webpage.
That's a must-attend game, that one. It's not TV viewing. Maybe for you, Lucky, back in Sydney.
Well, you know, they invented planes for a reason, mate. How do you... I will get here on horse and cart if I have to. Certainly will be appointment viewing. South Melbourne, it is a game into which they could well enter 9 games unbeaten. Of course, 1 game between now and then. The Greek derby, Heidelberg United next week. Ramazani helped on its way nicely by Swibble. Duach. Room to manoeuvre. Gets a cross in, but it's taken a touch off a Melbourne City shin. And South will have another opportunity from the flags. Their corners in the first half, Ivkovic, as good as they were not great. So the task on Andrew Messeruni to see if he can improve where David Yu and Yuki Uchida mostly failed in the first half.
One coming yet, the home.
Here's the delivery from Messeruni. It is a good one. Finds a teammate in Swivel. Pasquale happily catch that one out of play. Quickly taken, long throw. Buljuach trying to pick the gap for David Yu.
Surprised Pasquale doesn't take the corners for South Melbourne with the way he passes that ball around.
Jankovic. It's a poor pass from him. Vlanis will have it on the right-hand side. Standing up against Ramazani. And Ramazani stood him up in style.
It's a good learning experience for Vlanis this afternoon, isn't it? Coming up against Ramazani. It's a little bit of men against boys out there at the moment.
Well, it's quite literally in many cases.
But that's the experiences that they need to get, these youngsters at Melbourne City. They've done their job this season. They've stayed up very, very comfortably.
And we are not writing the eulogy on their finals hopes yet by any stretch. There's plenty of football still to be played, and they've got a game in hand on the rest of the competition, of course, albeit a tough test against Preston. But that we are even talking about finals contention is suggestion of a very successful season. Easy to forget because it has been a while, but just how poorly, a while since the first instance, not so long since the last, but just how poorly A-League Academy sides have done in this division over the years.
That's why there was talk, I think everyone tipped them to get relegated at the start of the season based on the evidence that we've seen, but they've done very well to manage the lack of scholarship players and introducing younger players into the team and exposing them to senior football and still being competitive.
Marko Jankovic playing his 36th game in all competitions for South Melbourne today. It's the most of anyone across this now 47-game campaign. Duach. Nice interplay with Geordie Swibble, but he's going to be denied by the outstretched legs of Dom Aravanis. He's had some good moments in the heart of defence for Melbourne City today. Hoping to have another in the face of an awaiting long throw. Flicked on by Jankovic. Charles, a single fist away. And the referee spotted something he didn't like in the lead up to all of that, and an incident that might have caused a bit of pain for Dom Aravanis, who's clutching at the back of his head.
Heidelberg back in front. 2-1.
Some trivia for you. Ivkovic with Buljuach on hat-trick watch for the second half. Can you tell me when his last bag of 3 was in NPL Victoria? You can take a bit of time if you'd like. I feel like I'm a bingo reader, the amount of quiz questions I've given you today.
You're excited to commentate with me. Get him out.
That looks like it came off the hands of Seb Pasquale. And indeed the referee saw exactly what the Melbourne City bench were so fervently protesting, and it's the first card of the day going the way of Seb Pasquale. I said that he's barely put a foot wrong today. Well, now he's put a hand wrong.
results. I'm not sure. Just give me the outside line.
Well, and I'm happy to be corrected on this, I am not sure that he did score a hat-trick last season.
Trick question.
Yes. So by my research, which admittedly is on the fly, the 27th of July 2024, a hat-trick in, and this is not made up, a 6-3 win against Melbourne City in NPL Victoria.
For Altona Magic.
Yes, for the Altona Magic. Round 24, when Moreland had sort of thrown the towel in at that point, which explains the chaotic scorelines.
I dare say he'll be staying on the pitch until he scores that third goal, if he can. I think he'll be too happy coming off without having a good crack at it. Every striker loves a hat trick, don't they?
I'm not sure who will have a greater desperation of South Melbourne's two up top today. Paul Juach to get the third, or Jordy Swivel to get his first?
It'll be Swibble. He was leading the line for South Melbourne until Juach came in. Hasn't been too convincing in the NPL. Swibble, he did well in the OFC Pro League. But has never really found his feet in the NPL this season. He's had moments of showing what he's capable of.
That was a nice little patch from Melbourne City, just one of the rare instances we've seen of them quite calmly playing around South Melbourne's movement. And the ball in behind, find the on-rushing Akeem Gerald, not quite. Javi Lopez.
This is the danger for South Melbourne, and what Sinisha would be concerned about is the intensity's gone out of the game, and Melbourne City look a lot more comfortable in the second half than they did in the first half. And if they're able to get one, it's hard to just flick that switch back on.
Blanes marching forward. This time he's got the better of Hassan Ramazani, and the referee is going to pull back for the free kick. There was a big tug of the shirt on the Melbourne City winger. Hassan Ramazani is the latest South Melbourne player to go into the book, so 2 on cards now. That was a nice moment from Dimitri Blanes, who scored his first NPL Victoria goal at City's last home game against Avondale. Game that they led 2-0 at one point. So, a chance for Julian Rekia, the 17-year-old, to test, he would hope, the goal of Javi Lopez. His last set piece, not his best. Can he get the eye in this time for a goal that would make things very interesting at Casey Fields? Five in the wall for South Melbourne. Rekia steps up, it takes a touch off both the wall and then the crossbar. And City do go close from the free kick.
Javi Lopez got a touch onto that.
Coxie! Watch it! Cox! Cox! Come out, miss. Well done.
Second crack. Will they go for the short corner twice in a row? No, they've given up on it. Julian Rekia could see the laser eyes of Mark Ivkovic. The idea of another short corner. And in comes the corner, flick towards goal, and a great opportunity for City to score. And it was the substitutes, Rino Kutleshi, who had the opportunity and the chance to head home for City.
Make sure you're ready.
Pulled together 2 very good chances in a space of not a lot of time at all.
So there's a golden opportunity there. It's got in the way of each other.
Would have been an awesome moment in the Space of a special week for Rino Kutleshi. Of course, of the big Kutleshi family across Victorian football, his older brother Bessian at Melbourne City as well. Bessian Kutleshi, the assistant coach at North Sunshine Eagles, who are all very happy when the Eagles qualified through for the quarterfinals in the Australia Cup at the expense of Heidelberg.
Just don't take a water bottle off the Kutleshi family, it'll be all right.
Bessian Kutleshi sent off, and I don't want to, create too much rumour and hearsay, but having called that game, I'm pretty sure I did catch a glimpse of Bessian Kutleshi in the North Sunshine Ultras actives. Unconfirmed, but clearly a club that all three still hold nearly and dearly to their hearts. Pasquale. A half-hearted header in the David Yu direction. Melbourne City building into this game. Johannes gets it to Gerald, who is happy to take the corner.
Smart there by Gerald. There's a strong chance if he crossed that in, it would have come back off here.
Short corner. They do get away with it this time. Gerald's ball, though.
Thank you.
Mesa, if you see that, you have to go. Just go. Someone else will come across.
Absolutely.
You saw it before the others.
Caught South Melbourne on the hop, but
Caught himself on the
yeah,
hop,
well, that's exactly the point I was about to make. Akeem Gerald did not. The upshot did not leave himself with much time to pick his mark. Giannakopoulos. Comfortably done by the 16-year-old Fraser Brown. Aaron Cox. Haven't seen much of him since coming on the halftime substitute. He puts the power down this time, but Rekia slips in to pick it up. He's been pretty good for Melbourne City today. McIntosh. Polovsky. Nicely done by the fullback, once and then twice. Akeem Gerald looking to bend it. It took a touch off the backside of a South defender. And the question is, Mark Ivkovic, can Melbourne City find a way to extract some reward from this impressive spell?
Well, he looks the most threatening, doesn't he, Akeem Gerald? He's getting himself into good, dangerous positions. It's getting closer and closer as well.
Mesa, just watch your shoulder.
One of the few in this City side today who do have a professional deal. And went close from the corner before. Will they this time? Not quite. Headed past all the willing recipients. Aravanis sends it back to the corner taker and Rekia. The Travella cross will find its way back to Aravanis. Polovsky. Sent forward for Satilmas, who lifts it towards goal. And Painter Andrews is able to just get a toe, or not get a toe in the end. It's out for a goal kick, but do enough to get in the road. Noham Johannes.
Just needed to get his head up. He did no idea where Harvey Lopez was. It's probably a fair bit out of position, Harvey Lopez. Didn't expect that ball to penetrate that defence the way it did. I don't think it was actually a shot on goal. He's just tried to play it across the face of the 6-yard box.
It's the second appearance of the season for 16-year-old Kaiser Tilmas. It's another 16-year-old that he's just been joined by. Number 55. Ashton Files. He's one of the 6 players who got the first City starts last week against Hume. Akeem Gerald is now the time for City's star man. Not quite.
Tell you what, get him on the ball. He's getting closer and closer.
And it's really come out of not a lot, really. He wasn't a central first half figure. He just popped up with regularity in the second.
Oh, what's come from? It's come from South Melbourne just dropping off and losing their intensity in the game.
As they look to freshen things up and calm things down in midfield, it is a very capable addition coming on in the form of Paulo Retre, who replaces David Yu.
That's the difference between these two sides. Melbourne City bringing on 16-year-olds and South Melbourne bringing on a very accomplished A-League player.
Melbourne City bring on players whose entire life has nearly spanned the amount of time that Paulo Retre has spent playing. He's not quite that old. Paulo Retre, 33 years of age, 230 A-League appearances with a couple of championships to boot.
Absolute belter down at the Olympic Village. Heidelberg 3-2.
Wow, where have those goals come from?
From their
Go!
It was 3-1 at one point.
Ball into the box, headed away by Pasquale. Phillies leaves it for Pailovsky. Gerald. He nearly turned into trouble, and now he's played Pailovsky into a bit of it. Straight out of play. Messaruni lifts it towards Swibble. It was agile stuff from Rino Kutleshi because Jordy Swibble was getting close to pulling the trigger, and this game is really starting to open up. Satilmas.
Very rare occasion in the second half that South Melbourne's entered their attacking half. Compared to the first half, where it was pure domination.
Johannes. Barely seen Buljuach. Rekia gets the nutmeg on the A-League veteran. Very nice. Satilmas. Can only find the waiting legs of Jankovic. And then Rekia. Worth a pop.
Get control of the ball, hey!
Just dropped off so much, South Melbourne. It's natural when you're dominating the game and quite comfortable just to switch off a little bit. Really allowing Melbourne City back into this one.
How much will they have next week in their mind? Because Heidelberg and Preston Lions in the league and cup, with a fan base that demands as much as this one does, that has got to be 2 wins from 2.
Yeah, you're right. It's a massive week coming up for them.
It's actually not to complain and heel off about the excitement of a big show in the Australia Cup. It's going to be great, but here's an opportunity for South. They've not seen a lot of it, but City have given the ball straight to them. Swibble. Cut back. Messaruni. Melbourne City get their markers in the right place. Johannes takes the touch into the corner. Painter Andrews and Swibble very frustrated to see that their hard work is not going to pay off with the turnover.
But, having said that, it's a big week, so you would expect them to be going 100 miles an hour still because there's so much to play for, and you're playing for your spots. We spoke about the players that are on the bench today and out of the squad.
Kutleshi wanted to take the game on. Retre couldn't do enough to stop the ball travelling forward for City. The teenagers moving with menace. This is a great run as well from Vlanes. And Gerald now will pick it up. Got Satilmas in support. 16-year-old ignores him. Kutleshi. Adavanis. Could be a grandstand finish on the way at Casey if City can make this second half count. But now South are starting to get the opportunity to move on the counter. And a third you think would kill it. Can they find it? Cox puts the head down, lifts the ball in, but it is not going to pick out a teammate. Well, Painter Andrews has found a way to keep that in. Top-notch athleticism from him. Retre. Rekia. Shoots it for Johannes. South weathering a bit of a storm at the moment. That ball is not a bad one. Johannes, who nearly soloed his way to goal before, will have a second crack with the ball at feet. Should be comfortably dealt with by Aravanis. That more than comfortably. Really good stuff by one of two 16-year-old centre-backs today.
It was very calm, wasn't it? Really intelligent play there.
I mean, you look at that central defensive duo, Yivka, of both he and Fraser Brown, both 16 years of age. It's quite scary to think that both of those two have probably got at least 2 to 3 more years of growing to do, because they're already pretty tall.
Especially Aravanis. It's a perfect height for a central defender.
And on the evidence of today's games, no surprise to know that the two players from this squad that did get the chance to go and play Palermo that weren't already signed to the first team, Aravanis and Rekia. Here's the substitute, James Lackey, who's turning on the Jets, denied by a nice light tackle from Pilovsky.
Hume City have equalised now 3-3.
That kind of scoreline is still a possibility at Casey Field. You never know. It's a tense one at the present moment. South in control, but Melbourne City asking questions. Messaruni's swinging delivery dealt with by City eventually. Ramazani. Giannakopoulos. He sort of stayed forward. Still sticking up top, Tom Giannakopoulos. That time he's given away the free kick. Another risky City turnover. The chirp on the sidelines is starting to trend its way upwards. Ivka?
I'm starting to feel the pressure a little bit, South Melbourne.
Lackey. Hakeem Gerald turns and assesses his options and plays the high percentage pass straight out of play. That's a little short of the lofty best of which we've seen from him.
Probably needed to carry the ball a little bit more.
Get him out! Have a rest!
He was on fire for a good 5 minutes, wasn't he? Faded out a little bit as this game's gone on.
Susa Kahadzic was yelling at Lopez to let the team have a rest. Goes long this time and they win the ball out of the air. James Lackey looking to be a super sub for South again today. First season since signing for Melbourne Victory has been a busy one. Vlanis. He's been very sharp in this second half. Showed his technical quality, dribbling ability. Vlanis. Rekia, try the dummy, but Hakeem Gerald not quite alert to it. Phillies.
Yeah, Jimmy! Jimmy!
Hugh Charles. Not the right pass.
Did all the right things except that pass. Got into the right area to receive the ball. Good turn. Just rushed that pass.
Hakeem Gerald. Trying to wriggle away from Pasquale, who has to be careful. He's on a card. Pilovsky. Oh, City are asking the question of how much advantage did they actually get from that signalling there. And now Cox is on the charge, but Aravanis does his defensive work with agility and foresight. Johannes. Didn't like what he saw further afield, decided to retreat.
Easy, stay like that. Middle! Middle!
Fascinatingly poised this game. A lovely lifter over the top. Vlanes is in behind and Lopez comes up big again. A second crack perhaps for Vlanes. It's Ramazani who makes his mark this time.
Another good moment for Melbourne City. Getting in behind that South Melbourne defence again. Lopez quick off his line yet again.
Fucking watch it!
Saruni, Swibble. Cox is forced slightly wide by the pass of Swibble. Here is Aaron Cox marching forward. Oh. With a go, he was eager to answer to the critics from his own bench because he did seconds prior to that, Ivka had copped an absolute bake from Sinisa Hartic, not once but twice. Sinisa feeling that Cox was caught ball watching on the previous chance.
So good at dropping his shoulder though, Cox, isn't he? Just drops that shoulder, finds the space that he needs to be able to get those shots off.
It's been quite a find. Not that they had to look too hard, South Melbourne. He played very well against them for Broadmeadow Magic in the Australian Championship, but to take the risk on a player you've seen little of is always worthy of commendation as Lucky goes to ground. Doesn't get the whistle in his favour. Satilmas. Rekia. It's a poor pass. Picked off by Paulo Retre. Giannakopoulos. Pasquale. Juach. Won't be able to reach it. It's nicely done initially by City. Just keep it giving South open looks. Lucky's lift into the penalty area. Fortunately, that blind flick from Kutleshi will find Julian Rekia.
Dylan!
Forward!
Go, Kay, go, Kay! Yes,
Yankovic. South Melbourne, from the sounds of things, are prepping a double substitution as they look to close this game out. Cox. That time he doesn't have the ability to drop the shoulder on Kutleshi.
It's been good since he's come on, Kutleshi. We held his own out there.
This is a City substitution that is on the way. A bit of a surprising one in some respects. Julian Recchia making way for Dylan Kaleja.
Yeah, it's probably blown a gasket. Recchia here has worked his socks off all afternoon.
That clearance from the penalty area before that went all the way to the other side of the ground where no one was. I almost felt like that was a tacit waving of the white flag, perhaps.
Put in a really good shift though, Recchia. Very impressed with his performance. Nephew of former South player, Carl Recchia.
Indeed. Polovsky.
Absolute cracking game at Olympic Village. I'm sure there's probably about 15 people watching this stream at the moment. 4-4 down at Olympic Village.
I see it, but I don't believe it. Melbourne City just hoping to find one. It would give them a platform to go chasing in the final 10 minutes of this game, but they are leaving themselves a lot of work to do with not a lot of time. Responds to that pressure well. Cox with open pasture, fires a switch for Lackey. He will be wishing that there wasn't such a hearty pre-game sprinkler session because he's lost his ground. Pasquale. Cox. South Melbourne still searching for a way to put the seal on this contest and secure an 8th game unbeaten in all competitions. Messaruni with a fancy move, and then he's blazed the effort away, undoing all of his hard work.
I won't be happy with this second half. Siniša Kahadzic. A bit disappointed the way they've dropped off in this second half. They really could have blown Melbourne City away if they kept up that first half intensity.
And all it probably, without being harsh on Melbourne City, all it would have taken was probably a 10-15 minute burst of that. That would have been enough to get the 3rd goal, and from there they could really have cruised. Made life a little bit more difficult than perhaps they should have in this game, South Melbourne. Phillies breaks through. Can only get so far. Yankovic, the central defender, is going on an adventure, and he picks out Swibble, who has the option of Buljuach for the hat-trick! And he couldn't find a way to finish it off. Well, a rare reprieve for Melbourne City, because you do not see Buljuach let too many of those slip by.
Yeah, just tired legs there from Buljuach. Put your house on him scoring from there.
Juach. Managed to lift the studs high enough to flick the ball to Messaruni and not collect a player in the same vein. Getting a little worried for Siniša Kahadzic's health on the sideline. He's blowing a gasket all throughout this second half. Had to wait for the double sub. Got a switch from Swibble.
Don't go too high too early.
Unfortunately, all undone by the work of Cox, who'd overrun the ball. Here come those rumoured substitutes, and Buljuach is not going to get his first hat-trick since 6-3 against Moreland City in 2024. He is coming off alongside Geordie Swivel, Richie Nkomo and Andres Skopoulos coming on as the substitute duo. He's brought a striker off there, Sinisa Kajic, maybe attempting to just sacrifice, or sacrifice not the right word, but secure this game with an extra defensive-minded player in Richie Nkomo. He's a fullback generally.
Yeah, he might play in that wing-back role.
Aravanis.
Looks like Cox has got into the midfield now.
Saruni running around up front as well. Como has lost the ball to Rino Kutleshi. Pretty light work of the substitutes.
Hey! Midfield!
Right guys, drop to the back. 56.
How easy was that for Lopez?
Yeah. Not going to get too many more set piece opportunities today. Melbourne City. Could have been chasing an equaliser in these final knockings. Some of those earlier chances had fallen their way. Right now they still have work to do. Well, I say they might not get many set piece opportunities today. They're getting another one almost immediately.
Yeah, I don't think South Melbourne will be too worried. Delivery into the area hasn't been the greatest this afternoon from Melbourne City.
Hey, here! Hey, back post!
And Hume have just taken the lead at 5-4 now at Olympic Village.
Hey, just floor!
Wow.
Andre, get to the
Are
back.
Heidelberg ever going to win again?
Come in.
Can't finish the rest of that off, Lockie.
That is a potential 9-game winless streak for the Burgers. Still 5 minutes left. 5-5. The rate at which it's going could be on the cards. Sent in by Johannes. Again, it is far too comfortable for South Melbourne. Cox is trying his darndest to win the ball, and did. Nkomo wants to reward the run of Cox, who has absolutely hared down on the ball. Came from a mile away to nearly chase down Rino Kutleshi.
Really got there as well.
Nothing silly! Manage it!
Will be a series of bitter pills to swallow for Heidelberg. Perhaps the latest. They were 3-1 up at Olympic Village. Now trail. South Melbourne are still 2-0, but not quite sitting pretty. And maybe that result, should it hold, which is a big if, has just taken the potential ceiling of a top 2 finish for South Melbourne away from their grasp a fraction.
Yeah, be a bit more difficult now.
Lackey fires the ball in. And Como looking for the angle to fire. It can only pick out the waiting breadbasket of Lockie Charles.
But what that result, if it stands, does do, still leaves the door open for Melbourne City. Still 3 games remaining for them.
What a big game tonight becomes as well. for the other side, who are right in that chasing pack. Caroline Springs, George Cross, if they get 3 points tonight, will be inside the 6. They take on Altona at Paisley Park.
Avondale.
Oh, sorry, Avondale. They've already played Altona at Paisley Park. That was last week. They take on Avondale at their home ground as it's lifted over the top. An opportunity for Skopoulos! South have finished this one off. 3 goals, 3 points. And I believe his first senior goal in NPL Victoria for young Andre Skopoulos. They have had to hold on to this 2-0 lead, but it is one of their young guns who eventually has come off the bench to get the job done.
Well, you wouldn't know that it's his first senior goal because that was a sensational finish from Skopoulos. Very composed, a perfect finish when that ball's played over the top, and a half volley into the back of the net. Well taken goal.
A moment to savour for the man who returned to South Melbourne last year, but a 7-year junior. Hellas, born and bred, and now off the mark in NPL Victoria to, you would have to say, Mark Ivkovic. We have seen strange things. I mean, we've seen a 5-4 today, but I think a Melbourne City comeback with South 3-0 up is a task too tall.
I think so.
Here comes Akeem Gerald, though. He could fire away or thread the needle for Pavlovsky. But at the end of that sandwich between Pasquale and Pavlovsky, of which Pavlovsky has come off second best, it is Harvey Lopez who ends up with the ball. 3 minutes of stoppage here at Casey Fields. Akeem Gerald. Pavlovsky, who's launched himself forward now. Phillies to Kalea. Great footwork from the young substitute who chops it square. And the late substitute Harris Rizmani, who's got a frightening goal-scoring record in the youth ranks, could not find a way to the back of the net.
Good opportunity there for Melbourne City. Rizmani just didn't get the right connection on it.
Cox on the charge. Turning on the afterburners. Oh, it's off the post. And Lackey finds the other side of the post. That really should have been 4.
How about that pace from Cox? Very deceivingly quick.
Akeem Gerald. Is he going to back himself to go it alone? He does. Well, if Aaron Cox's South Melbourne footballing career never works out, and he's not playing football at Lakeside Stadium anymore, we may still see him at that venue on the track.
Oh.
He's got pace to burn, and Skopoulos has slipped behind the City defence. Could it be a dream double for the youngster? No is the answer. He puts it straight into the arms of Lockie Charles.
I guarantee you, if he didn't score 2 minutes earlier, he would have taken that chance a little bit better. Just a little bit too much riding on confidence there.
Kalea slips around Yiannakopoulos, who hauls him to the ground. It's another player into the book for South.
That's such a silly yellow card to get by Tommy Yiannakopoulos.
It's a 3-0 lead. You're almost more concerned about potential card trouble for players than you are about conceding a goal.
Correct.
That's 4 now for the season for Yiannakopoulos. Akeem Gerald loses out to Lackey. He stabs it away. Messarooney backs himself with the flick against Pavlovsky. It was ugly, but Pavlovsky did enough. Rizmani's flick. Not quite working out. Charles, risky lump. Wow, Phyllis did brilliantly to find Sir Tilmus with that pass there. Such composure from the diminutive teenager. Well, I guess by teenage standards, he's probably normal-sized. Johannes, that's a great cross, but Jankovic heads the ball clear, and it is the final act of another precious 3 points in this unbeaten run for South Melbourne. 3-0 they win, 3 points they get, and they will go into the Greek Derby. 8 games unbeaten in all competitions. Their work was made perhaps a little bit harder than the 3-0 scoreline would suggest, but a quick fire and brilliant brace from Buljuach in the first half gave them a platform upon which to build in the second. Melbourne City threw everything they could at it, couldn't score, and then Andre Skopoulos popped up with his first goal for South Melbourne in NPL Victoria to seal a result that, even if they did make a bit of hard work of it in the second half, Mark Ivkovic, South Melbourne, you have to say, thoroughly deserved.
Oh, 100%. Melbourne City, much better second half than the first 45, but really didn't trouble that South Melbourne defence too much. But they can hold their heads up high, Melbourne City, because they could have easily gotten blown away in this one. But 3 points nonetheless for South Melbourne. Very impressive first half. A little bit disappointing in the second, but that's only natural after that first half domination.
They will look to pick themselves up and dust themselves off with 3 games still to go, and it's a short turnaround for them, the midweek madness with Preston Lions coming up, their catch-up game. So their chances not dashed to play in the NPL Victoria finals. But for South Melbourne, it is the perfect lead-in to one of the biggest weeks for the club in recent years. It is Heidelberg and Preston Lions that await across league and cup next week, and they are going into it fit, firing, and in form. We sign off from Casey Fields. For myself, Lockie Flanagan, Mark Ivkovic, and the production crew, it's been great to have your company. The full-time score from Casey: Melbourne City 0, South Melbourne 3.